It was 2015. I was a teenager back then. I was coming home from work after a long, tiring day. My body felt heavy and my mind was full of stress. I just wanted to go home and sleep. As I passed by the entrance of our neighboring colony, I noticed something strange. A huge crowd was standing there. Men, women, children, all looking scared. My heart started beating faster. Something was wrong. I stepped closer to see what had happened. And then, I saw it. A gang of robbers had broken into the first house of the colony. The door was wide open. Glass pieces were lying on the floor. Screams were coming from inside. People were crying, running, and panicking. I was an introvert. I hated crowds. So I turned around and thought of leaving the colony quietly. But just as I turned to walk away, one of the robbers came from behind and slammed the gate shut. I froze. Now we were trapped, inside with them. The robbers started walking through the crowd. They were angry, wild, and had guns in their hands. They were shouting and pushing people, taking phones, money, jewelry, whatever they could grab. One of them came close to me. I wanted to scream, to run, but I couldn't. My throat felt locked. My legs wouldn't move. I was like a statue, a dead one. He looked at me with his dark, cold eyes and said, "Give me your phone." I slowly took out my brand new Nokia phone, the one I had bought just a week ago. He snatched it from my hand without even blinking. I could hear glass breaking inside the house. Loud crashes, people screaming, children crying like the world was ending. The whole place was filled with terror. Another robber walked straight towards me again. "Where's your wallet?" he growled, but my body didn't respond. I was still standing there, completely numb, like a mannequin. He shouted louder, but I was like a dead person. And then, he slapped me hard across the face. My head spun. I fell to the ground. I felt the pain, but still, I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I was drowning in fear. People around me screamed. Some tried to run, but the gate was locked. We were all hostages, with nowhere to go. 15 minutes passed, but it felt like hours. Then suddenly, one of the robbers came out of the house with bags full of stolen stuff. And then, he started firing bullets into the sky. Everyone screamed and dropped to the ground. Mothers hugged their children. Old people were crying. Babies were wailing. And I was just lying there, too scared to even breathe. The robber shouted, "Everyone stay quiet." His voice echoed like a demon. Everything went silent. All you could hear was the crying of children and the burning crackle of something inside the house that had caught fire. The robbers packed everything, jewels, cash, phones, laptops, probably millions of dollars worth. And then they disappeared into the darkness, like shadows. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the police arrived. Sirens screamed. Flashing red and blue lights lit up the dark street. But for me, everything was still dark. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was just looking at the broken house, the shattered windows, the smoke in the air, and the crying people. Children were hugging their mothers, shaking in fear. Some houses were burning. Black smoke was rising into the sky. I was sitting there with my face red from the slap, my tears rolling down, and my heart still beating like a drum. It was the most horrifying moment of my life, and I still hear the gunshots in my dreams. I was in college when it happened. Every morning, I would take the same bus from the same stop. It was a quiet spot just off the main road. I liked it there. The cold breeze in the mornings was peaceful, and for a while, those quiet few minutes at the stop were my favorite part of the day. But one morning, something strange happened. While I was standing there, I saw a boy on a motorbike riding fast, really fast. He was going in and out of traffic, swerving, almost hitting people. He looked wild, like he had no control over himself. I watched him, confused and angry, wondering why he was riding like that. And then, a police van pulled up. It stopped right in front of the bus stop. A young police officer stepped out. He looked neat. His uniform was freshly ironed, and he wore dark black sunglasses. He walked up to me, smiled politely, and asked if I was from the college nearby. I nodded, and we talked for a moment. He told me to study hard. His voice was calm. He seemed like a good person. For some reason, that small talk made me feel safe. But then he turned and walked toward the boy on the bike. He asked the boy to stop riding so dangerously. The boy didn't listen. The officer warned him again. Still, the boy argued back. I couldn't hear the words clearly, but I could see the anger in both of their faces. The officer stayed calm at first, but after the third time he snapped. He slapped the boy, hard. The sound of it echoed in the air. The boy stumbled and fell to the ground. I thought he would stop, maybe get scared, but instead he got up and started shouting, cursing the officer, calling him names. The officer didn't say anything. He simply took the boy's bike keys, held him by the arm, and put him in the police van. A small crowd gathered. Some people tried to calm them down. After a while, the boy was released and drove off, but not before giving the cop a look I will never forget, full of hate. I thought that was it, just another street incident. But a few days later, he came back. Same boy, same bike. But this time, he wasn't wild. He was quiet, cold, dangerous. He rode up to the stop, parked the bike, and started asking people, "Where's that cop?" His voice was calm, too calm. It sent chills down my spine. He came back again the next day, and the next. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening. Every time he asked the same thing. "Where is that cop?" People stopped answering. They just walked away from him. But I watched. I watched every time he came, because I couldn't help it. Something about him made my heart race in fear. Then one day I saw it, tucked into the side of his pants, a gun. At first I wasn't sure if it was real, but then I saw him touch it, slowly, like he wanted people to notice. My blood ran cold. He wasn't just angry anymore. He was planning something. After that, I started changing. I stopped wearing headphones at the stop. I kept checking behind me. I started using different routes to college, just to avoid that spot. I couldn't enjoy the mornings anymore. The breeze I once loved now felt like a warning, a quiet whisper that something was about to go wrong. I couldn't sleep properly. My heart would beat too fast every time I heard the sound of a bike outside. I told myself it was just my imagination, that it was just some random person, but deep down I knew. One night, I woke up around 1 a.m. I was sure I heard a bike. I pulled my curtain aside slowly, not wanting to believe what I already suspected. He was there, sitting on his bike outside my building, not moving, not looking at his phone, just staring up at the windows. I froze. He didn't do anything, didn't shout, didn't even blink. After a few minutes, he rode away. I couldn't sleep after that. I sat in the dark, listening to every sound, waiting, praying, and the worst part, he still comes. Not every day now, but often enough. Still asking people about the officer, still carrying the gun. Sometimes I wonder, what if the officer comes back one day and they run into each other again? What if the boy decides to do something? Or worse, what if he remembers me? I was there that day. I spoke to the officer. I saw everything. What if the boy thinks I had something to do with it? What if I'm the next person he's waiting for? Now, every time I hear the sound of a motorbike, I freeze. My hands shake. My heart pounds like it's trying to escape from my chest. I try not to look out the window, but I always do. And every time I pray it's not him.